Good morning, everyone. If only just. And welcome to another really dangerous stream. I'm just playing this week, essentially. No idea what's going on. My egg tracker doesn't seem to be working properly. It's a bit odd. It's plugged in, it's working, it's responding, but none of it's responding to any of its key commands. So I'm not entirely sure if that's going to work today. But we'll see. That was what I was trying to do. There we go. Right. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Close galaxy map.
Closing map.
Somewhere or other, not many people are actually watching at the moment. So I'm not going to waffle. I'm just going to play. And if people pop into the chat, and they want to have a conversation, then I'm quite happy to speak. You know that. Let's just double check where we are. Okay, let's move. So again, this is another Road to Colonia stream. Raise landing gear.
Landing gear up.
Jump.
Engaging jump.
Hoping I've resolved my USB issues. I've managed to. I've changed out the USB hub. The last couple of streams I've had some issues with the USB just dropping out. The USB on the joystick just dropping out. And it's been plugged into a one of these things. USB hub, which doesn't seem to want to pick up all the stuff at the same time, which is a bit strange. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Standby. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
I've actually now tried an older one, because that's quite a new one, and was more expensive. The one I've actually got plugged in at the moment was £2. And I'm hoping it's going to be better. Can't be a lot bloody worse. Jump.
Charging frameshift drive.
What's interesting is that every time I seem to stop a stream, I stop at a certain number of planets to go. Last night when I was streaming I stopped at 360 and that has just said it's 358, so I've only had one jump since I logged on. It's lost a planet somewhere, or lost a system somewhere, so we've actually improved our jump range, or the jump rate, sorry. Every time it plots a route, it's essentially changing the route slightly, and seems to be saving me some time, which is working well. Scan the system.
Standby. Scanning now. Compiling
I'm also
data. Cartography update complete.
a lot less tired today than I was in part 4, so I should make less mistakes. He says as he yawns. Jump.
Preparing for jump.
Good. Scan the system.
Stand by, scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
Jump.
Frameshift drive engaging.
So just in case there's anyone out there who's going to watch this on YouTube or is watching on Twitch right now, not being very unsecretive, I'm playing this as an explorer more than anything else. I'm not exploring systems at the moment because I'm actually on a trip. So I'm going to Colonia, visiting a point of interest in the galaxy. And Colonia is a region of the galaxy in Elite Dangerous that was set up through an accident in the in-game lore, where a kind of sentient robot is like a cyborg guy called Jake, who was mentioned in the literature and sort of short stories supplied with one of the previous games in this series, was going to head off to the far side of the galaxy, having had the space station that he'd been modifying for centuries, or well, decades, let's not exaggerate there, upgraded to have engines on it. Unfortunately his jump went wrong, he got lost, and the peoples of the galaxy, i.e. the players, went off looking for him and finally found him. The region where he was, rather than sort of saying let's get him fixed up and get him home, kind of said, well, why don't we just establish a base here and call it an external colony. So it was given the name Colonia, and it's been started to build up. Jump. Scan the
Engaging
system.
jump drive.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
A few people think that with the incursion of the Thargoids into the galaxy at the moment, Colonia may be a bit of a safe haven or a refuge. There is the potential that the Thargoids, if they decide to actually stop faffing around, may just get their act together and kick the shit out of us, and potentially take over the region of space that we've called home for the last 1,000 odd years in space. So there are people like me who are hoping that actually happens, because it would be fantastic for storytelling. Scan the system.
Stand by, scanning now.
Jump.
Compiling data.
Jumping.
Cartography update complete.
And so obviously they're trying to sort of big up and expand some of the stuff in Colonia and try to convince Frontier to do some community goals along that road, with mixed success. Myself, my opinion on it is that I don't think that's the way Frontier are going to go with it, even though there are several reasons to do it. And I actually think, if I'm being honest, it'd be a mistake not to do it, because it would give them a lot of storytelling potential, which they have kind of proved that they don't really have much of, at least on the individual events and so on. But the overall story is probably going to be really good once you look at it in hindsight. It's just dragging on for so long. But also from a development standpoint. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Because one of the biggest things that was promised for this game was planetary landings and planetary cities and so on. So alongside space legs or elite feet or whatever you want to call it, the ability to get out your ship and wander about, this brings the potential problem of how do you create a living, realistic environment on the sort of city worlds. So Lave or Elite Earth, for example, you have huge sprawling cities, Achenar, the Achenar system, and Capitol, and sort of the bigger population centres in the galaxy. You have to find some way of making it look as if that place is alive, that it has billions of people living in it, or millions of people living in it, and that it has evolved into cities and towns and areas and industry and all that kind of stuff. So you've got to try and do your kind of Sim City style building stuff, or city skyline style building stuff, and population growth and new population wandering around and people having certain roles, and so much AI to do. I mean, that's a huge job, and to try and do that in one update whilst people are wandering around is going to be near nigh impossible. So that the idea of kicking people out of the bubble, as we call it, is one of those things that's a good idea for development, because what it would give people the chance to do in Colonia is say, right, we're going to start a colony from scratch. We can have people have planetary landings, we can then have people wandering around building houses and so on, so you can do the crafting and building stuff that other games do very well, like Fallout 4 for example. Build settlements and so on, and diversify those settlements into different things. It turns Elite into a very different game if you do take that on board.
Jumping.
But it is one of those things that, you know, if you want to have a simulation of a spaceborne society, then it would work. It just depends on what way Frontier want to go with it. And in all intents and purposes, Elite was designed to be a space sim. So you fly around in space, you do the shit you do in space, and you essentially live your life on board your ship. That's always what the franchise has been. But the development of multi-platform, multi-genre games like Fallout or Grand Theft Auto, where you can jump into a car and drive around, or you can wander about, and the popularity of those games, and especially the popularity of sort of the first-person elements of games, and the personal aspect. Because I think this is what gamers are really looking for nowadays, is the ongoing story from a personal level, which is why games like Fallout do very well. World building games are very popular, so Minecraft, Fallout, that kind of stuff, Sim City, city skylines, prison architect, anything where you're building a community or a facility or a particular function, are all quite popular. So there is a money stream in that, potentially. So it would be something that could be done,
Jumping.
to increase the market share, increase the market range of the Elite franchise, which could only be a good thing profit-wise. So yeah, the Colonia option would give Frontier the option to take their time developing this stuff. So you can have the players building their own settlements. You're also going to be studying how that's happening, how the colonies are starting to expand, how they grow, how they develop, and you can use that to develop an algorithm for how your procedurally generated cities would actually work. So you'd find you would have a city centre region, or a town centre area, or a commercial or industrial area, or try zoning things out. You could learn that from the way the players play the game. Scan the system.
Completing system scan, stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
And then in the meantime, you've got the time to sit and develop all that stuff while people are building that colony. So when you're building, as you build up the story of the Thargoid invasion of the Terran area, or the human occupied space, you have the option then to be able to work towards the fully procedurally generated cityscapes that you wanted. Or, if you want to start again from scratch using that particular method, then you can have the Thargoids absolutely decimate the populated areas. So millions and billions die, the cities are razed to the ground, and essentially humanity starts again from scratch. It's an interesting idea for a story, and I quite like it as a story. And it's copyright me, and if anyone does it, then I'm going to kill them. Jump.
Charging frameshift drive.
So it does present some possibilities, but it does involve a huge shift, one, in the way the game plays. It would be a completely different game. You'd end up with the space sim trading side of it would expand from a very low beginning, which for some people would be interesting, but for the core players, would it be? I mean, most of the old-time elite players like me, and the group of friends that I hang around with in this game, tend to be of the option that they would love to see the actual genre expand, because we love Elite for what it is. We love the fact that it is the game that it is, and it's come from the background that it's come from. But we do also feel that it's time to expand it. It's time to give it the scope that we as fans and we as content creators have tried to give it. We put our imagination into what it's like to live outside our ship, and what the universe is like, and what the settlements are like. And we've never ever seen it, apart from very badly rendered in Frontier and First Encounters, where it's just empty planets with a starbase on, and very bad attempts at rendering cities. This game has the scope and the capacity to provide that to us, if that's what people want. And I honestly think that, even though I'm not a market researcher, I don't know how to tap the market for this, but jump.
Engaging jump.
In terms of what people seem to like, I mean, obviously I buy games on Steam, I look through all the stuff that's on Steam, and the most popular stuff seems to be the more creative stuff, where you've got that space to fill in, or that stuff that's there that you can do. And I think if Elite scope did change to include those games, I think there would be a certain number of people who currently play it, or currently like the game, who would perhaps say, well, no more then, because it's not the game I bought, it's not the game I wanted, it's not the game I imagined it would be. I like things as they are, because few people like change. Scan the system.
Stand by, scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
But I do think that it would benefit, in my opinion, I do think it would benefit the game. I think it would give it that scope for expansion, and that scope to be something that you could actually drag more players into than you would lose. So I think overall it'd be a win to do that, because I think you'd bring more people in who would want to do the different scope of things that would be there. You'd have the people coming in to do the settlement building, the people coming in to do walking about on planets and becoming a character within the game. You could turn it into basically a bit of an RPG as well if you went down that road with it. And it would become then a multi-genre game, which I think would be a good thing. Scan the system.
Stand by, scanning now.
Jump.
Compiling data.
Frameshift drive
Cartography update
engaging.
complete.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from with it. That's kind of where I think things could go, or and I would personally, I would like it. It's one of those things, you see, where Elite's bag has always been the kind of semi. And I'm not going to say sandbox in its entirety, because it's not a sandbox game. I think making it into a sandbox game would be a good thing. But turn it into a multi-genre game with the scope to have all that kind of stuff. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering
It's a commercially
information.
viable thing.
Cartography has
But
now been updated.
sorry, I've kind of lost track of where I was going with that, so I'll start again. What the issue you have is, Elite and its franchise has always been play the way you want to play. If you include all these new elements into it, like space legs, or settlement building, or ground trading, or atmospheric flight, or all that kind of stuff, then they're options. And that's the thing, if you want to play the game the way you want to play the game, all that really would be happening is you're adding more elements into the game that people can play or not play as they see fit. They added power play, and the engineers, and exploration options, and mining options, and all that kind of stuff. Jump. Jump.
Preparing for jump.
Which people can play or leave as they feel fit. And there's a lot of people who give it some salt, as the current industry terminology is going, with the fact that, oh, you can't do anything in this game, I'm really bored of this, blah blah blah. And they're the people who can't really play this game properly, because the game has so many things at the moment that you can do. Fight, trade, explore, blah blah blah, visit points of interest, go on a holiday, planet skim, chariot races, even joining up with other players and doing things that aren't actually part of the game design, but people have done, like demolition derbies, the sidewinning derbies that Kate Russell organises on her channel, that kind of stuff, and the buckyball races and the hunter games that the Sovereignty organise, that kind of stuff. It's all different things that we can do, that we've joined up to achieve for ourselves. Loads of stuff. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Jump.
Engaging jump drive.
So yeah, adding on settlements and space legs and other options to the game like that are things that you can join in with if you want. If you don't want to do it, just play the game the way you want to play it. It's still there. Your core game would still be there, albeit if they went down the Colonia route in a slightly different environment, but it would still be there. In a sense, though, that would be the single argument against doing the bubble is lost storyline and moving everybody out to the Colonia areas, that your area of trade would be much, much smaller. And those who wanted to do the trade and political stuff would perhaps find themselves a little bit out of pocket for a bit until things built up again. Scan the system.
Stand by. Scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
Jump.
Jumping.
And that's it, I think. I think that's my conversational gambits for today done. This is something that I was kind of thinking about last night. I was actually thinking about it on the stream last night as well, but it was mostly once I came off stream and started thinking about the game, where it's going and what's going to happen for this year. And after a couple of conversations the guys on the stream last night had about Beyond, it made me start thinking about what's Beyond. We've got the Chieftain, we've got the Chieftain coming on the 25th, along with the exploration upgrades to the planet, textures and so on.
I can scan the system if you wish.
Scan the system.
Stand by. Scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
So we've got that. We've got the Type 10. We've got the crate coming. Don't really know as of yet what the crate is going to bring to the game in terms of what it is or what kind of ship it's going to be. Jump.
Engaging jump.
But things are expanding all the time. It's a good place to be, I think, at the moment. So yeah, the Beyond thing means that where are things gonna go? Where are things gonna go to? It looks like the focus at the moment is on combating the Thargoids and trying to get rid of them and fighting them back and beating them back from Earth and all that kind of stuff. But I think we'll see. We'll see where it's going to go. We are seeing a lot of repetition in the lore at the moment, which is one thing I have commented on before. So if we follow what the original Elite storyline was with the Thargoid invasion, we're looking at potentially having a war that could go on for years. It's not going to reach a quick resolution, and it's going to be essentially a series of battle lines that aren't going to make it any further forward or aren't going to make it any retreats or anything like that. Scan the system. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Jump.
Jumping.
So, I'm going to try and find a pattern with these non-Dangerous Mondays Elite videos, or even other gaming videos as well. Like, Dangerous Mondays is the only one I'm going to try and regularly do a longer stream on. I'm going to try and keep it to about an hour for anything that I do that might be a shorter one. Just so it's a bit more accessible for those who are watching the archived videos on YouTube. So obviously the YouTube thing was something I was going to try and focus on this year, expand the YouTube exposure and try and get some monetization going on that, but obviously recent things that are happening within YouTube are obviously making that impossible. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Jump.
Engaging jump drive.
Because the recent announcements, I got an email last week from YouTube basically saying that monetization is going to be removed from my channel unless I can get 4,000 viewers, well, 4,000 subscribers. Which, let's face it, given the fact that I've been doing this for a year and a half, 2 years, and I've only got 120, probably not going to happen. I mean, I have a lot more exposure on Twitch, but at the moment I only have 600 viewers on there. But their partnership policy is much lighter than YouTube's, which may change in the future, you never know. But I actually think Twitch is going to start taking a bit of a cue from this, in terms of what they can do to perhaps steal most of YouTube's stuff. Now obviously YouTube is now saying that they're not going to partner people. Twitch's partnership rules are going to be much more lax. Twitch are also looking at starting to do pre-recorded video hosting in the same way that YouTube does. So essentially stealing part of YouTube's business for its existing subscribers. And I have an affiliate status on there at the moment, and I'm going to try and work towards partnership this year on Twitch, which is a bit of a semi-announcement. I don't know if I've said it already, I probably have, you know what I'm like. Scan the system.
Stand by. Scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
Jump.
Jumping.
So yeah, I think rather than trying to push the YouTube stuff and try and retain that partnership status, I might just continue to use YouTube as an archive. Rather than trying to become a YouTube content creator, I'll focus more on the Twitch side of things. So I don't know kind of where to go with that one at the moment, whether I'm going to keep doing the review stuff that I've been doing and putting them on YouTube, or whether I'm going to hold off on that and start doing stuff more geared towards Twitch. Twitch has quite a lot of things. I want to branch out in the stuff that I've been doing video wise as well, which is where the reviews and unboxing stuff kind of came into it. But I don't want to be wasting my time with something that's not really going to be received well, or essentially really listened to much. What's the point of wasting my time doing something that is really geared towards other people's benefit, and isn't in it? I do like opening stuff, I do like the review stuff, but it doesn't really benefit me in any way, because I can look at something and review it myself without having to set up the cameras, set up the microphones and do all the editing stuff. It doesn't really benefit me in any way that. It's intended to benefit YouTube viewers. Now the exception to that would be the technical stuff that I've done. So I've done a couple of technical videos, and they are by far the most popular things on the channel. Me pissing about with screws and building stuff and electronic stuff seems to be quite popular. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Frame shift drive engaging.
So maybe if I'm looking at branching out, I might knock the review stuff on the head, knock the unboxings on the head, and maybe do a more creative type thing. So technical builds, like electronic items or electronic objects, or stripping stuff down and rebuilding it, phone maintenance, joystick maintenance, even going down to things like Lego builds, because people like Lego, and we'll see if people like that as well. Yeah, so essentially that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. The road I'm thinking about going down at the moment.
If you wish.
I am, although I don't have a monetary stream from YouTube, it is something I was planning on trying to get into, and I am angry about it because of all the people who essentially YouTube have groomed to be content creators for them, and that have turned YouTube into what it is, which is a huge centre for knowledge, information, entertainment and all that kind of stuff, which has been built up by those people who are monetizing their videos and getting ad revenue and making money for YouTube. And essentially they've just pissed on them all. It's pretty nasty. But then that seems to be the business model these days, is you get people to spend their time, their effort and their blood building up your company to what it can be and building it up to a huge thing in the world, and then you shit on them all from a great height. It seems to be the main corporate model these days. Scan the system.
Stand by scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
Jump.
Charging frameshift drive.
It's just one of those things, isn't it? The cutthroat world of business and stuff like that. You have to make your profits somewhere, and if that means that you piss on the small people below you, then you do it.
Verity is here.
It does annoy me. I mean, I'm a working guy. I've worked in the software development industry now for about 15 years, if not more. It's probably longer than that now. And over that time, I've had two separate instances of
if you wish.
the company that I'm working for completely shitting on the people who have helped get a company out of crap, fix problems, and then, you know, scan the system.
Stand by scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
To see something online doing that as well as something that has the respect that YouTube has, is a bit crap, really. I'm actually hoping, I mean, I'm annoyed in terms of YouTube again, because Amazon has taken YouTube off the Amazon Prime media, Amazon Fire media, sorry. So the Amazon Prime stick that I have, and the Amazon Fire stick, sorry, and I assume the Amazon Fire tablets and so on, are now not going to be able to run YouTube videos. Which is a move, because essentially there was a bit of a disagreement between YouTube and Google regarding how advertising works and how browsers worked and so on. Jump.
Preparing for jump.
So Amazon's kickback effect on that to Google is to say, well, no, we're not going to host your YouTube anymore. And I'll be honest, I can completely agree with Amazon for doing that, and I hope more people do it. At the moment, YouTube is the only kind of mainstream place where content creators can put their content and have it shared in an efficient and effective way. And obviously, because it is the market leader, it is the one that people are going to go to for this kind of stuff. The market now, though, is ripe for other companies like Twitch to be able to do this. And they can take that business away from YouTube very easily. And if YouTube do the sort of stuff that pisses people off, scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now
Then
been updated.
they're actually opening the market up for everyone else to do that to them. So they're causing themselves a problem in the long run by making very, very blind short-term decisions. Amazon themselves are not the best. They don't have the best track record at making sensible decisions, to be fair. But you know, no one seems to compare to YouTube at the moment for ridiculously bad decisions. Jump.
Engaging jump.